You are now watching the political segment of the weekend show. The topic of discussion is Southern Kaduna killings. 178 people have allegedly been killed due to unrelenting crisis Southern Kaduna has been bedeviled with. According to the presidency, available security records have revealed that the problem in Southern Kaduna is an evil combination of politically motivated banditry, revenge killings, and mutual violence by criminal gangs acting on ethnic and religious grounds. The state governor claims the recent attack carried out between July 21st and 24th, where 43 people lost their lives, is as a result of widespread insecurity in northwestern states by armed bandits. Joining us in today's program to discuss how we can curb this violence, we have
the Commissioner of Police of the Kaduna State Command, CP Umar Muri. He's joining us virtually. We also have Katung Aduwak, a filmmaker and social activist. Welcome to the political segment.
Sir, can you hear us? CP Umar, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Good morning. Welcome to the weekend show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Can you please explain to us what exactly is going on in Southern Kaduna? Why haven't we been able to curb this violence and nip it in the bud once and for all?
Well, problem in Southern Kaduna is something that has to do with land dispute over the years. About 28 years back between the Hausa and the Katung people in Southern Kaduna. The police have been doing it level-based to ensure that there is peace in that area. The state government, the federal government, they are all doing their possible best to ensure that there is peace in Southern Kaduna. But what we have, the problem we are confronting is indeed people who are residing from outside Kaduna, Lagos, Port Harcourt, maybe even outside the country. Instead of really assisting the security agencies, the state government, and the federal government to solve the problem, but they are always fond of treating the members of the public with falsehood. And I think we have really made a robust development in Southern Kaduna. On Monday precisely, I met the Inspector General of Police, who sent in an intervention spot comprising of counter-terrorism units, police mobile force, special forces, and detectives of intelligence apparatus in that area. And definitely for now, we are really on top of the situation.
Okay, Commissioner, luckily enough, sorry Andy, I'll let you jump in here. Luckily enough, I have been to Southern Kaduna. In 2017, during the heat of the massacre, my team and I, my crew and I went into Southern Kaduna to find out what exactly was happening. We visited Goska community, we visited Dangoma, which is predominantly Fulani, who were the alleged perpetrators of this crime. Here's what they had to say about this, if we have that video.
I want to welcome everyone for coming to Dangoma. As I've said earlier, I am standing in for the district head. My cries and my request to the federal and state government, we here have been here for 500 years. Since 15 AD, we have been here to Dangoma. Even the white men, they came here and met us. Since then to now, when the Queen came to Nigeria, we welcomed her. I was alive then. The problem here, for us to live in peace, I call on the Southern Kaduna people, especially the politicians, that have bent to seeing that all Hausa Fulani men are not existent in Southern Kaduna again. This can never yield any result. There is no point, and it is impossible for you to think about driving away the Fulani men in Southern Kaduna. Secondly, we here in Kaninko are in the same emirate. We have made agreements to stay in peace. We have agreed that wherever a Fulani man is coming, we are going to stay together and we live together. And then we have left in that peace. We have not breached any trust, but the problems that is prevalent now, especially Honorable Gideon Muri, since God has placed him on the seat, he has never allowed us to live in peace with the Katung people. We don't have schools. I call on government to give us school here so that we can have our ward, we can have our emirate. We advise that all the killings must be stopped. All the politicians should be checked. We call on the public to live in peace. We in Dangoma are peace-loving people and obedient people. I'm a captain in the Nigerian Army and I'm retired. I will not allow any of my child or my younger ones to witness what has happened in Biafra. I was a participant then.
But has Dangoma been attacked? And if so, how many people have lost their lives?
As a result of the crisis they had with the Fulani of Kagoro, as a result they've killed some of our people here in our town and even burnt our houses. I had it on mind to beg you, but 27 houses have been burnt. I would go and show you what happened. When Goska was attacked, our children came out to protect the land. But in the morning, I was almost attacked in my house. But out of God's mercy, I was protected. I was shot by a bullet, and the youth from Goska came down from the ammo tank and shot these people to death. That we know the people who killed them. They used the platform of Khan and came in here. As a matter of fact, they're the first people who came here. They shot our people to death.
You've talked about the demands that you need for everlasting peace here in Dangoma, right? You've talked about building healthcare. The government should assist in building healthcare facilities here, secondary schools. So in an instance, and an emirate, sorry. And in an instance that the government does not accede to those demands of yours, what would be the next step? What would be the retaliation?
What do we have to do? We must be patient. If government says there's no means, we must be patient and continue our suffering.
But if those things are a condition for peace, does it mean that without those things, no peace will reign?
Why not? Why not? There must be peace. Only that we will leave all to God. But that means government is not interested and is not ready to make peace. If you request 5 things and you are given 2, at least you appreciate what has been done.
But do you think that is the best way for
Fulani only to live
Fulani to live Fulani and
we are not saying that we should live alone. But all these things you mentioned, will at least reduce our mingling together with them.
You don't want to mingle with them?
We want to mingle with them, but you see, during elections, so many things do happen. During our younger ones and children do go to school in their areas. We don't know what might happen to them, especially time like
There's
this.
no trust?
There is trust between we and them. But you see, anything can happen. One of our brothers was just rearing his cattle around their area, so they killed him. How? But you can see how what do you think will happen with our younger ones by going to school?
Cattle rearing is also a very serious issue now, because we're seeing that there's a backlash, you know, on also herdsmen who rear cattle on lands that belong to other people, right? So what do you think is a solution to that? The government proposed the grazing bill where they will allocate a piece of land across the country for, you know, cattle rearers. So do you think that it's a feasible solution to keep business as usual, in the sense that those people who are cattle herders continue rearing on properties and farmlands that don't belong to them?
You see, it cannot happen like that, that the cattle rearers will rear only on the grazing land that government provide for them.
It can't work?
It can't work.
Okay.
So they must go out somewhere else to rear their cattle.
But on other people's lands?
Yes.
Yes. Madam, tell madam, rearing, wherever you stay you rear.
It is evident that there are severe political undertones behind these attacks.
CP, so CP, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you frankly.
Okay, so I hope you were able to see that report from 2017 when I visited Dangoma in southern Kaduna. So their proposal was for the government to build an emirate for them, to build schools, healthcare centers separate from the Christian community within southern Kaduna. So basically they are asking that they need infrastructure so they can go about their businesses in silos of the other Christians in southern Kaduna. They propose this as their solution, their sole solution to solving this continuous southern Kaduna crisis that we see every year. Do you believe this is a feasible solution for the people of southern Kaduna?
Well, I think it's not a feasible solution because we are all Nigerians. And constitutionally, Nigerians are free to stay in wherever they feel like in the country. And the idea of separating Muslim, Christian, and religious people differently, I don't think it's going to be good for the country. We are Nigerians. We're supposed to live as one. And definitely, when we are living, we should just follow the rules of the law. We should be living within the ambit of the law, rather than saying we should be separated. I think this is my candid opinion on this. And the state government is really doing its best on this issue. We have been meeting with the leaders, the Fulani, the Hausa, and that we met separately with the state government and with members of the state council. And I think the state government is really doing its best to see that there is more peace, there is lasting peace in terms of Katung.
CP, I like the fact that you spoke about how Nigeria belongs to everybody, and so it doesn't make so much sense if we create these divisions for people to stay in different places. But according to a report by SBM Intelligence, they stated that as of July 25th, 2020, 83 incidents have happened in Kaduna State this year, and at least 511 people have been killed. This is according to SBM Intelligence. 511. According to SBM Intelligence, it's on the internet.
That's really a blunt of life. It's not a correct situation.
Okay, so they have stated that 83 incidents. Okay, but my point.
I know some villages have been attacked.
Yes. So this is their report
about.
CP, so they have a 15-page report which is in the public domain. Okay, but the point now is we also heard that a couple of years ago the state government negotiated with these people and there was some settlement of sorts.
The state government
negotiated with the both parties and there was even some payment of sorts to end these clashes. But we have seen deaths in recent times, so we don't know the status of that. But as a law enforcement agency, the police, can you clearly tell us if you've had any reports and if there's been any prosecution between 2017 when Osasu went to these communities and interviewed those people till today? Have there been arrests, prosecutions and convictions of any suspects or people who are attacking these communities?
Well, I know some arrests have been made, and I know prosecution is ongoing. But all the same, I can say without missing weight that the state government, the present state government is trying its best. We are just harmonizing the report, and then in no distant time, the white paper will come out, and all the recommendations will fully be implemented so that there will be lasting peace in Zangon Katung area, or southern Kaduna area.
So is this actually confirming that between 2017 till now, which is the recent time, we can't categorically... Are you categorically saying that between 2017 and 2020, you can't tell us if there's been any convictions or people who have been fully prosecuted to the extent of the law for this?
Condition.
Can you categorically tell us if if there have been any convictions, if prosecutions have been successful between 2017 till now, if people have been arrested and tried for this?
Well, I know, I took over the mantle of leadership in Kaduna in January this year.
Okay.
And definitely, when this crisis took place during my tenure, we made some arrests, and we are trying to see that we conclude investigation and then arrange people that we have been arrested, those that the prima facie is established against them to court. And for the state government, I know they are really engaging all the stakeholders, the Fulanis, the Hausas, the Katung. We let them severally. And I think any moment from now, the white paper will come out on this crisis so that there will be lasting peace in the area.
CP, before we leave you, I want to know what you have done differently. As I said, we've been there 3 years ago and the killings are still happening. You said you took over in January of this year. What have you done differently? Because under your watch, over 78 people have been killed so far in this year. In the past, from July 21st to July 24th, 48 people were reported to have been killed in cold blood. So what are you doing differently as the Commissioner of Police in Kaduna State?
Well, in all the affected areas, there is a robust police deployment and intensive patrol and monitoring being carried out with a view to preventing further attacks. You know, after the attacks on these villages you mentioned, there are several attempted attacks after the attack on Zipak, that is on 24th July. There were several attempted attacks on Bakinko Bichewa in Kaurupanjie, Asha Wuche in Masara and Angwan Zaki, Zangwang Hausa, Angwan Wakili, Madakia, Wawan Rafi, Machon, Sarang Katar, all in Zangon Katar. Kagoro 2, there was an attempted attack. Kaura in Kaura SDF, Takangida 1 and 2, and Angua Masara, all in Jama SDF. And in all these attempted attacks, we had the police intervention assisted in seeing that these bandits were repelled and nobody was killed and no property destroyed. So the police, we are really doing our level best to ensure that there is lasting peace in the area. The state government is doing its best. The federal government is doing its best. But we want to appeal to the leaders of the Hausas, the Fulanis, and the Katung. They should always try as much as possible to embrace this so that they expose the bad elements within them so that we'll be able to pick them, so that we'll make them possess the full right of them all.
That's a fine place to leave it. Thank you so much, CP, for your time. We appeal to you on behalf of the people of Kaduna State to keep on pushing, keep on doing more. Your best thus far is not good enough, so we expect you to do more in terms of protecting the lives and the properties of the people of Southern Kaduna. It is no longer, it's never been okay that people are dying in cold blood. I remember there was a situation where a pregnant woman was killed there. She was carrying also her little baby. So this is not okay. So people should be able to go to sleep irrespective of their social class and know that they will not be attacked at night or even in the daytime. So thank you for coming on today's program, but we appeal to you to do even more.
Thank you, CP.
Thank you so much, CP.
Yeah.
Thank you. We have Dr. Kabir Adamu, who is a security and management expert, joining us on Skype. Dr. Kabir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to the weekend show and our political segment. I'm going to go straight to it. On the 17th of July, Dorcas Shagari, 3 years old, Faith Shagari, 6 years old, their 25-year-old mother, Gloria, and also their father, Hussaini Danda, also were killed on the 17th of July in southern Kaduna. And these are just few of the names, but it's so bad that children and babies are now being killed. We are seeing the pictures on the internet. As a security and risk management expert, what's your take on what's going on in Kaduna State, specifically southern Kaduna?
The risk to life in southern Kaduna is at a very high level. In security management, we categorize risk from low to very high, and sometimes we use colors to do that, or just mere depiction of the risks. And our categorization of southern Kaduna is that you have the highest risk to life, and that means death and other forms of security threats can occur to a resident of Southern Kaduna at the slightest whim or opportunity. The social contract between government and residents of Southern Kaduna is at its lowest ebb. That promise by government to protect them and to secure their lives and property, unfortunately, is not being lived up to at the moment.
Kabir, the executive governor of Kaduna State, Nasiru El-Rufai, had come out in public to state that he was paying off these bandits to stop the killing. Do you believe that this is a sustainable measure to put in place by any executive to end banditry and killings anywhere in the country?
My understanding of that statement by the governor is that it was one of the options he considered. Governor Rufai has been quite novel in his attempt to tackle security in Kaduna. When he made that statement, it appeared he was desperate for a solution. And since then, I'm not sure that he has carried on with this particular solution. What I know for a fact is that he has created probably the first governor in Nigeria to do that, what he called the Ministry of Homeland Security, and appointed an indigenous of Southern Kaduna to head that ministry. Like I said, it's a novel idea. Even a developed democracy like the US did that after the 9/11. So there is some good advantage, as it were, in creating such a ministry. He's also attempted to create what I would call early warning security measures, so that when crises or issues are emanating, there will be early warning signals that will be sent from the communities up to the government level. And then beyond that, like the Commissioner of Police mentioned, he's attempting to harmonize previous reports of commissions of inquiry, committees of inquiry, and other state-level government committees that have been set up to look into the crisis. What the common feature over the last 20 plus years in Kaduna is the inability of successive government and the current government to implement the recommendations of these committees. So the deterrence element in our criminal justice system is failing, where an offender knows that if he carries out an offense, he won't be penalized, then the likelihood is that he will continue to carry out that offense. But if he is penalized, then he himself will probably, be repentant, hopefully, and then others who see the kind of penalty meted out on him, if they decide to carry out that kind of offense, then probably they would decide not to, knowing that government or whatever security agency is in charge of that particular area would now, arrest them and prosecute them. So I think beyond that call or that payment that he did to so-called bandits and militias that came to attack Kaduna at a particular point in time, there are several other measures that we should look at as part of the solution that the governor is putting forward.
But Kabir, how would you assess the impact of that payment? Because in Zamfara State and in Sokoto, they also have the issue of bandits. And they tried also this payment. But we see that there's still pockets of violence here and there. So isn't this payment just enabling these bandits to purchase more weapons, purchase more, machineries to continue to attack the people? Isn't it clear that this payment is not working?
We need to look at the broader attempt to demobilize and disarm these bandits, because I think what happened in Zamfara and Sokoto as well as Kaduna is an attempt to disarm them, and then to an extent come to an amicable resolution beyond the kinetic component, the military, the police, kinetic component. Now, what Kaduna did was slightly different. My understanding of that particular incident is sometimes back in history, I can't remember the exact year, it appears there was a transhuman movement from a particular part of from an African country into Nigeria, into Kaduna. And then when that transhumans came to Kaduna, it was in the wrong place at the wrong time. There was a communal violence ongoing at that time, and it appeared that the members of that transhumans movement were killed. Their livestock were also killed. So what we had was that it was that anger of the killing of that particular transhumans that perhaps led to a couple of reprisal attacks. So the attempt by the governor to reach out to that particular component was to appease them and bring an end that anger. Did it work? We will probably never know. The reason why I say we'll probably never know is because none of these bandits have been arrested so far. None of them have been debriefed. Now, were they part of that transhumans that were moving from an African country to come to Nigeria to carry out that attack, or is this another separate group entirely that is carrying out that attack? Until the security agencies do their work, arrest these particular bandits that are killing at the moment, and then they are debriefed or put through the criminal justice system so that we as Nigerians will know who is really behind that killing. Then unfortunately it will be difficult to say. But the point I'm trying to bring out here is we need to separate what the Kaduna state governor attempted to do with what the Zamfara, Katsina, and the other state governments tried to do when they tried to disarm the bandits or negotiate with them. Now, I can also talk about the attempt at negotiation. I think the state governors, with due respect to them, unfortunately do not have the wherewithal to carry out a broad and well-accepted and an effective disarmament or negotiation process. It's a very technical process, and I think the federal government should have come in to assist them. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and other federal government departments have that capacity and capability to carry out such a negotiation. But the state governments, unfortunately, don't have that capability. You cannot negotiate when you do not know the rules of negotiation. In this circumstance, disarmament is one of them. Demobilization is another component. And frankly, none of the state governments that has done it the way that I know it should be done. There are processes that should have been carried out before the whole negotiation went on. Of course, we saw what happened. The negotiation collapsed on its face almost immediately for the same reason that I'm talking about.
Dr. Kabir, thank you so much for bringing clarity to this. Unfortunately, because of time, we'll have to speak to our next guest, but we want to thank you for shedding light on this. However, while we applaud the efforts of the Kaduna state government, we also understand that these attacks are still going on. Just 4 days ago, kidnappers were back on the road between Kaduna and Abuja. And with the proximity to the Federal Capital Territory, it's quite scary to see that all of this is happening. It's been happening over the years, and it is still happening. And to continue this conversation, we have Katung Aduwak, who is a filmmaker and a social activist. Katung was the first Big Brother Nigeria winner, but he has committed his time now into social activism, following and dealing with the issues affecting the black people and the people of Southern Kaduna and Nigerians who are under different sorts and forms of oppression. Katung, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Andy, how are you?
Hi, Katung. Katung is also my friend, but let's go straight to it. And so, okay, Osasu has a question for you before I come to Katung.
Katung, you've listened to the Commissioner of Police, you've listened to the security...
I actually didn't listen. I didn't get a chance to listen. I was asking for the chance to, but I didn't. So I'm going to be answering blindly. So
I see.
I'm
okay,
a fresh
so
page.
We've spoken to the Commissioner of Police, we've spoken to the previous security expert Kabir on the issues going on in southern Kaduna, and they've given their own reports and assessment. How is that tea you're drinking?
I've actually had to stay awake. I've not slept because I was told to be ready by 2. I got the call late, so I've been sitting here waiting. So I'm doing things to make sure that I'm in check and don't lose my balance.
All right. Well, this is a big moment, live TV. But thank you so much for being here. So I want your reaction. You're a social activist. You're a filmmaker. How can we in the media continue to advocate for the protection of lives and properties for the people of southern Kaduna? I personally feel like I have failed in my capacity as a broadcast journalist, because I've talked about this issue as we showed earlier on the show since 2017, of going there, putting my life at risk, putting the lives of my crew at risk to ensure we cover and give a complete holistic coverage to the issues that are going on. However, the killings are still going on. What more do we need to do? Those of us that are in the media space, how can we use our platforms, you as a filmmaker, Andy and I as broadcast journalists, to continue to advocate for the protection of lives and properties in vulnerable communities like this?
Okay, I realize we don't have too much time. So the first thing I'm going to say is, first of all, I think politics should not be enmeshed in security issues as is being done by the security operatives and the government right now. We all deserve the right to live. Now, coming back to your question as how we as media practitioners and voices can help to drive a cause to change what is going on. The thing is, first of all, dialogue must continue because not many people know what is going on. Many people sit down in their homes and think they are not affected, but there's a saying that goes from my side of town in southern Kaduna that says, when rain falls, it doesn't choose a roof to fall on. It falls on everything under the clouds, everything under the clouds and the land that it sees. So when we think that we are not all affected, we actually are. It just grows slowly and affects you in bits and pieces, block by block. What we need to do is make sure that the dialogue continues to happen. Without dialogue, people do not know what is going on. When people know what is going on, then people can actually form a unified voice and speak. If you notice, the international media is not covering what we're going through. Captains of industry are not saying anything. Nobody's saying anything because we do not seem enraged enough. The reason why Black Lives Matter in America has made such a big impact right now is because finally there was an inciting incident. And that incident was America got to watch something that has been happening forever. But this time around, it was 8 minutes and 46 seconds, and that was kind of too much to watch. The other ones were pretty quick. This one made people sit down and see, is he okay? Is he going to die? And then you were hearing the commentary. That was what broke the camel's back. I do not know how many people need to die before everybody is enraged and unified to speak. But what I'm going to say is, I hope that the people who are responsible are listening and realize that those who make peaceful change impossible, yes, will make violence inevitable. And we do not want that. We are 200 million people in Nigeria. All other African countries that we have seen have wars, Rwanda, here, there, and there, not as many as us. Can you imagine 200 million people facing each other with guns? That is a blowout we do not want to see. So the sooner we all realize that this thing affects us all, the better. So just keep on having dialogue, keep on doing what you're doing, and let's make sure that we kind of synchronize the message. Because if everybody is running around like headless chickens, because there's confusion, nobody will understand what is going on. We need to synchronize the message and keep on speaking.
Katung, just to interrupt you real quick, the governor in an interview last week stated, or allegedly stated, that there's a bit of irresponsibility on the part of the representatives and the leaders of Southern Kaduna, and we have people in the National Assembly, in the House of Reps and in the Senate, representing your constituency, which is affected the most. What role do you think they need to play right now? Because they have a say and they are at the seat of power. What role do you think they need to play in solving this issue right now? They are elected representatives.
Okay, so let's start from the top. Yes, first of all, the issue right here, right now, is a failure of security. You understand? The people that are responsible for security comes from the president to the governor, then to the representatives. You know, a few years ago, we saw our president sit down with Christiana Amanpour and say that the insurgents were from other countries. Now, who is responsible for the border security? They came in through Sokoto, passed through Sokoto, didn't kill anybody, came in through Jigawa, didn't kill anybody, passed through Borno, Zamfara, didn't kill anybody, came to the middle. There. But now, how is it that the representatives who are supposed to hold the people accountable, the president and the governor, they cannot hold them responsible because everybody is looking for how to secure their Land Rover or their paychecks? Look, let's not play games here. Everybody is playing politics with the lives of people. The governor has not visited Southern Kaduna once in over 15 attacks over the years. How are you responsible for a state and do not come and see what is going on with your people? And you are supposed to represent the whole of the people. There's complicity in every arm of the government. Until we stop playing politics with the lives of people, we cannot sit down here and try to throw the good words and say the things that we think. We cannot try to sound politically correct. We can't anymore. People are tired. We are dying. My people are dying slowly. Political correctness does not help anything. What needs to be done needs to be done. And that is, if the government is not doing their job, the legislative arm should hold them accountable. And if they cannot hold them accountable, what are we now? We are a lawless country, a lawless society. You know, so I do not know what to say anymore, because if it is about legislation, then this should have stopped. The first crisis we remember was 1987 from College of Education, Kaduna, when a few Muslim students converted to Christianity. It was a religious issue. Then in 1992, the Zongo Nkata crisis happened. Then it became an ethnic issue. And then 2011, post-election crisis. Nigeria is the only country where every election people are guaranteed to die. So if it is about a legislative matter, should we not have been able to solve it? Do you know how many years we're talking about? 1987, I was 7 years old. I'm 40 now. What are we talking about?
Most definitely. Katung, I think you've raised some very brilliant points in your explanation today. We want to thank you so much for your time. The advice that you have given is also very important, especially for those of us that have platforms to speak out and to hold government accountable. We cannot relent in talking about issues like this. We need to keep on shedding light. We need to keep on reeling out the statistics, not just the numbers, but as Andy did, mentioning the names of these people that keep on being killed every single day due to the failure. It is a failure on the part of the government, not just the executive arm of government, but also the legislative arm of government. So thank you again for your time. Thank you for the work that you do. Keep on advocating. We are solidly behind you, and we will always yield our platform for you and your voice to be heard. Thank you so much.
Can I say one thing? Thank you very much for what you do, and I really appreciate this, because without you guys, we really cannot speak. We will not be heard, you know, and just thank you. Just keep on, keep on. There is nothing you can do that is too small. Do not think you have failed. You have not failed. You cannot solve it alone, but you can say things that would spark people to do things to change the future. So big up.
Thank you so much.
Katung.
Take care. So we'll take a short break right now. Typically, we bring you the electoral reforms part of the political segment, because we have to keep on advocating for electoral reforms if we want to see a change in our in the way our elections are conducted. But we don't have enough time today, and we have to take social media trends. So we'll take a short break right now. Ina Peters is up next with her last social media trends on the weekend show. Don't go anywhere.